Okay, so with these pocket cameras, I think everyone can create just like how Gusteau inspired Remy the Rat in Ratatouille, that everyone can cook. I really do believe everyone can create with these pocket cameras. So after spending a week of time with the Luna Ultra, I wanted to share my thoughts because a lot of people have been asking me how it compares to the DJI Pocket 3. Should I buy the DJI Pocket 3? And honestly, coming from the Pocket 3, I think the transition was surprisingly seamless. I think that one thing I have to give Insta360 credit for is that the Luna Ultra feels like a product that was built with creators in mind more so than the Pocket 3. There are so many little features that make me feel like the people designing the camera actually use the camera themselves. So more importantly, it feels like Insta360 generally listens to the community and the users and their wishful requirements to be uploaded in the next firmware. So whenever I look at the forums or Facebook groups, Reddit discussions, or firmware update announcements, I constantly see user feedback being acknowledged. I think that the features that people ask are often shown up in the future updates, and it gives me edge and confidence that the product is continuously evolving. And it feels less like you're buying a finished camera for sure, and more like you're buying into a platform that they're still improving. So take that with a grain of salt. Now, if we're talking strictly about features and capabilities, I have to say the Luna Ultra beats the Pocket 3 in most categories because the image quality, I think, is most of the time excellent, and the detachable camera, telephoto lens, that alone is a game changer for my workflow. And the Pocket 3 obviously only is fixed to one lens, and there are creator focused tools built throughout the experience that can make content creation really enjoyable with the Insta360 Luna Ultra. But that is a pretty important but. The Pocket 3 still wins in one area that I honestly value more than the bells and whistles that the Luna Ultra offers, because the longer I create content, I need reliability in my workflow. The Pocket 3 may not have all the bells and whistles, but every single time I pulled out my Pocket 3, I turned it on and hit record. I knew exactly what I was going to get. I knew that the image would look consistent, the exposure would be predictable to work with, and the colors would be familiar. And the overall experience was almost boring in the best possible way, if that makes sense. And that should be, because it's a tool at the end of the day. And as a content creator, boring is sometimes exactly what you want. I want that consistent workflow. Because when you're filming every day, when you're filming every day, your camera becomes a tool. You don't want to think about it, so don't get caught up in chasing the newest tech. You want it to disappear into your workflow, if that makes sense. With the Luna Ultra, there are just moments where I don't have that same confidence level yet. For example, I've been experiencing occasional issues when shooting in iLog. It's not a lot, not most of the time it happens, but it happens enough times where it makes me question if the footage looks great and if it's coming off soft or mushy. And it doesn't seem intentional. It's consistent enough that I just find myself checking the footage more often than every day with the Pocket 3. That uncertainty does slow down the workflow. So instead of focusing entirely on creating, I just start wondering whether the footage is going to hold up when I get back to the computer, which does hinder the workflow and my overall confidence level. And that's something I hope Insta360 addresses quickly through firmware updates, because the camera is so close to really being incredible and becoming that new standard. Uh, Another thing I'd like to see added is a histogram directly into the UI for a camera that's clearly targeting creators and filmmakers. A histogram feels like a basic monitoring tool that should already be there. It should make it would make exposure decisions much easier in challenging lighting situations, and would add another layer of confidence for the user when shooting. And the funny thing is that these aren't hardware limitations, and they are definitely software improvements, which is why I'm more optimistic and confident that Insta360 will release a firmware update for that. Um, if there's one company in the space that seems to willingly to iterate quickly based on user feedback, I do think it's Insta360. And at the end of the day, I think the Luna Ultra has that higher ceiling. It's a bit more innovative. It's it makes me excited. I haven't been excited about this camera since the Pocket 3. And it offers more creative possibilities with the remote mic camera and the telephoto lens. And in many ways, because of those things, it's simply better than a Pocket 3. But the Pocket 3 still reminds me of something important. Features don't always equal a better experience. What made the Pocket 3 wasn't just image quality or stabilization. It was the trust in your equipment, your tool, and your camera. I trusted it worked every time. I trusted that it produced a consistent image. I trusted it would stay out of my way to capture that moment or shot that I've been wanting to in that run and gun scenario. For me, the pocket cameras are all about speed, workflow, and reliability. And when inspiration strikes, I need to be able to pull out my camera, turn it on, capture the moment, and move on. And I think flagship phones like iPhone 17 Pro, it's still king in that aspect. I can start recording or snap a picture and have that confidence and expectancy of what I'm capturing. And the less I have to think about the camera, the more I can focus on storytelling. And right now, the Luna Ultra gives me more creative power than the Pocket 3 ever did. But if Insta360 can iron out the remaining bugs, improve the inconsistency in iLog and just image quality, add a histogram, improve UI, refine that user experience, I genuinely think that the potential to become the new gold standard for cameras. And knowing Insta360's track record, of listening to creators, I'm actually pretty hopeful that these improvements are coming. Um, definitely think this camera came out a little rushed. I could have refined it a bit more. If you are on the fence of buying a Pocket 3 or a Luna Ultra, I would definitely get the Luna Ultra because of the 3x and 6x telephoto lens that I kind of mentioned already, in detachable mic and screen mode. It doesn't feel gimmicky. Like, this is actually very useful, being able to monitor and track. I want to be clear that you cannot go wrong with the Pocket 3. It is an absolute workhorse, and it would still be able to capture most of your needs for most people. And at the end of the day, you really need to pick up the camera that like excites you and excites you to film and vlog and just get up and do whatever. Because if it just sits on a shelf collecting dust, well then you just accept the fate of being every other consumer and just chasing tech and not actually using the product itself. So choose a camera that will make you get up in the morning, hit record, and post. Thanks.